Welcome back, part 2 to the Arkyana podcast. Now it's time to talk about LSU, but before we do, and you may want to talk about LSU, Mike, but you've got a couple of points you want to make.
Yes, we're coming off of one of the best performances ever by the Razorbacks and the best performance by any quarterback ever at the University of Arkansas. Let's go ahead and put it out there. That's over. That's not going to happen this coming weekend. What is going to be residual is the confidence that Rick was talking about. There's a confidence that goes into today's practice. Those guys were off yesterday. They start today, and they're going to have a pep in their step. They're eager to get back on the field. That's a lot different than what Rick referenced earlier with LSU. LSU has to watch themselves lose on tape. They have to get back on the field. So there's a difference in intangibles right there, okay? Second thing, it's interesting to me that Cornelius had such a good impact coming back from an injury like that. That says a lot about the mentality of not only himself, but maybe the environment on the team. I'm very confident coming into this week that we will perform well on Saturday. For one, already a trend that Bielema shows, and that he really gets his team ready to perform at the end of the year. November is a strong month for Bielema, so I just wanted to get that out there.
Yeah, and since you bring up Cornelius, and a lot of people have taken examples like JoJo Robinson, and they've made sort of fun of this uncommon theme that they use. Let me tell you, uncommon is real, and uncommon is real with Jared Cornelius. I know the woods are full of guys who, after breaking both bones in the arm, they would have just tossed it in for the season and been glad to just be out on the sidelines. This guy worked his butt off to get back out there. There's nobody holding a gun to his head to get back out there. He wants it. And look how bad he wanted it. The catch he made was, and I go back all the way to Chuck Dykes or Mike Rapon, seeing him, that fingertip catch of that ball right, the post route, that skinny post for the touchdown, that he took the pass in from Brandon Allen in the second half. What a beautiful grab that was. And I mean, to think that he's come back ready to go and not needing, 3 or 4 weeks to get back into gear. I mean, he's the guy that I'm going to be glad to say in the next 2 years will be a leader for this team.
Was he a 3-star?
Yeah, he was a 3-star. And we had to fight back for TCU. He committed and decommitted and went with TCU briefly, and then Arkansas got him back. And here's hoping Cornelius can work some of his recruiting magic and get a TCU commitment to flip back to Arkansas too, because there is one they're recruiting. But that beside the point. Rick, I know you're itching to get some comments in.
I want to talk about, confidence that we were talking about. And I just saw something on ESPN before we started. The projected matchup probability of LSU winning over Arkansas is 80%, is what they're projecting off of statistics. And when you look at that, that really kind of goes back to the word confidence. So let's go back to 2013. LSU has Zach Mettenberger, Odell Beckham, and Jeremy Hill on the team. And you look at that, and we had them beat until a busted coverage happens. So, the matchup in that one, ESPN probably given LSU a 99% chance to win that. But guess what? We almost won that game with a very bad team, or a young team is a better way to put it. The next year, we shut them out 17-0. Do you think these guys, as juniors, are sitting there going, oh, I'm scared of LSU, I'm scared of Tiger Stadium? No, they're not. They're looking at it going, we've beaten these guys. The word confidence is there. LSU can come out with some height, and trust me, Leonard Fournette is a special running back. He's one of the top 5 running backs of SEC history. He will be. But I believe the confidence of the Hogs will be there. Schematically, Les Miles, he's in the dark ages. LSU fans are so frustrated with him right now. I'm talking with my family and reading things on the internet with his play calling. It's archaic in basically what he's doing, and he's believing, my big running back can just pound you and beat you. Not against an Alabama. Alabama has adjusted their scheme to winning. LSU has not. That's why they've owned LSU in the last 5 meetings.
I just want to bring up, and then we'll turn straight to LSU, since ESPN's broadcasting the game, is that I have no faith anymore in ESPN and what they say. I don't care if they I don't think they do their research. The point made is that 4 people sat around a table the other night, Sunday night, and not one person corrected Mark May when he said Tennessee probably won't make a bowl. Tennessee is 5-4 with North Texas, Vanderbilt, and Missouri left on its schedule. They're going to win 8 games. Mark May, I think they're going to make a bowl. But anyway, back to but no one on that panel said, Mark, you're crazy, you're an idiot, whatever. I mean, they probably too scared to. He might step on them. But anyway, back to our point of the LSU game. Let's go straight to that. Matchup-wise, can Arkansas get any of the technique aspects of tackling correct? I think that's what a lot of fans are concerned is, can Arkansas correct any of the tackling problems? I mean, they're going to have a hard time tackling Fournette. Auburn couldn't tackle him at all either with kind of a similar back seven. So can Arkansas change this, Mike?
Going into the Ole Miss game, I think everyone conceded that Ole Miss would move the ball, they would score, they would have success against our defense, right? I don't think what surprised me and surprised you guys is our failure to sack the quarterback when opportunities were there. Coming out of the second half, Rick talked about the missed tackles, 3-on-1 play by senior seasoned defensive players, missed tackles. I don't think the missed tackling is an issue. I don't think it's really something to focus on. If they can correct some technique this week, that's great. But the hay's in the barn when it comes to that stuff. I think the mentality that we have and the confidence that we have is going to take care of those items. Okay. Now, as an Arkansas fan, we always have that bit of doubt in the back of our minds as Arkansas fans, and we still do. Coming into the LSU game, I've been right there in Tiger Stadium. We got the game won. They have the ball on the 20, and they score in 2 plays. And we've been in that position, and that still is there. So I understand if people doubt us, but look at what is happening right now in November with Bielema and his team. They finally have come together on offense. I don't think that's going to change going into Tiger Stadium. On defense, we'll make a couple of adjustments, but really, overall, our scheme is set up for a power team. We have a harder time against the spread. So, overall, I think we match up well. Rick?
Yeah, I think we match up well. I think when you're talking about the tackling component, it's really one of those situations where there's tackling in space and there's tackling in a gap. Now, the problem you're going to have this week is tackling in the gap isn't going to be easy because you've got a guy that weighs 240 pounds and can run a low 4.4, upper 4.3 in Leonard Fournette, and he's just a special back. He's, unbelievable. But, the Hogs have already seen this scheme in Alabama. With a little bit more of a dynamic offense can cause some problems. LSU's extremely athletic on the back end, at the wide receiver position, should I say. And that is going to play into it. Their receivers are going to have some yards against us. Brandon Harris throws a good ball. I think this is going to be one of those games where it's going to be a 3-point game. What scares me about this game as an Arkansas fan is our inability to kick field goals. And I think that could be a big difference in this game because, they have actually a pretty decent field goal kicker. Their special teams are real bad, but the field goal is going to play an important role in this game. Your thoughts, Jim?
Yeah, I said that a couple weeks ago when Arkansas didn't try a long field goal against Tennessee Martin, and everybody's going, what does it matter? Well, it matters in game pressure situation. I don't care if you think you're going to beat this team 63-28 or not. Kicking it in game pressure situation does matter. You can argue it all you want, but I just know I've been around too many coaches, and not saying you, Rick, because I think you agree with me, but I know a lot of people on Twitter maybe didn't, but I've been around too many coaches that appreciate what game pressure means and getting a guy out there to kick. Now, the guy made a 45-yard field goal. That was huge.
Yeah.
He didn't make he got a 47-yard field goal blocked, and I think they said that his last 2 kicks were lower than, which has been, I thought, a problem with Headland is low kicks. If I was Arkansas, I would get McFain or one of the stronger legs ready to kick something beyond a 42-yard field goal and have them ready, confident, and at least at least without game pressure, at least have confidence going in, because I think field goals will matter. It mattered in 2009 down there. Remember, Arkansas with a shaky field goal kicker ended up losing a game in overtime by missing a kick in overtime. That cost them the ball game. And that was a 30-yard kick. I mean, that was nothing to tie. And so, I think when you go into any of these games, how lucky Arkansas was the other day that they only needed one field goal really to be in a tie, that everything else was a touchdown, how efficient Brandon was inside the 20. If you have that kind of red zone efficiency this week, and everybody likes to look at red zone efficiency over the course of the season, but sometimes you got to narrow that focus.
Yeah, you definitely do.
How's your red zone efficiency since the open day?
Yeah.
And now it's a second season. That's what we talked about. I like a lot of things going into this game. I think kicking will matter. I think kicking down there has mattered. Trendon Holiday's not around, thank God, anymore. But how many times did he break Arkansas's back in Baton Rouge with punt returns and that kind of thing? I think Arkansas is going to have to be on top of its game. And I think people expecting LSU just to come back out and fight, I don't know if these guys will be looking ahead to Ole Miss, but Ole Miss matters to LSU football, and they have that next week. So I'm wondering if Arkansas still isn't in a really great position for this game, with the exception of the fact that they do remember Arkansas stuck a 17-0 whipping on them last year.
Yeah, the 17-0 game does stick in their craw a little bit, but at the same time, like I said, it also leads to a lack of confidence if Arkansas comes out and really kind of hits them in the mouth. Arkansas didn't flinch that Ole Miss got shut out a year ago and, said, all right, we beat you last year, we're going to beat you again, and that's what they ultimately did. When I look at this game from a fan perspective, my hype, the way I feel about it, the Hogs are riding the momentum. I think the Hogs win by 3 points, something like 27-24. But the objective side of me really goes ahead and looks at it from the perspective of what can really happen. What happened on that last series in overtime to get us the victory was one of those deals where I go, we really didn't perform well. We had a lucky play, and then we got some momentum and made it happen. So basically what I'm saying is I think LSU will win in a tight game 27-24 is my objective side, because I think they have the momentum on their side is ultimately what they're going to have, because they're at home. That's a huge advantage, being at home at Tiger Stadium at night.
Well, I do like Arkansas scheduled all the way through. I mean, even if they don't beat LSU this weekend, but I'm predicting Arkansas 24-17. I think Arkansas is going to win the ball game, but you catch Mississippi State a week after they've had, their head knocked around by Alabama, and they're putting a lot into this week's game, and they have to go to Fayetteville. I know they're a great team. In fact, it won't surprise me if we don't look back at the end of the season and Mississippi State doesn't end up being the toughest game of these last few that Arkansas had because of Dak Prescott. I think Brandon Allen gives Arkansas that edge. Brandon Allen is now playing like the fifth-year quarterback that he is. I don't think Brandon Harris is playing as well as Chad Kelly. He can do a lot of things Chad Kelly can do. Arkansas can miss tackles against Brandon Harris. There's no question about it. Arkansas can miss tackles against some of those fabulous receivers they've got as well. They can miss tackles like Auburn did against Fournette. No doubt. I mean, that could happen. I just see Arkansas being able to put some points on the board. It wouldn't surprise me if they put a lot more than 24 on the board. I just think that it's a great situation.
The road games have been something that also make me optimistic, because we've been on the road at Tennessee and won. We went to Ole Miss and won, and really kind of playing our brand of football late in those ball games, running the ball, and actually kind of playing some good defense.
Yeah, played well at Alabama for 3 quarters.
Actually played at Alabama 3 quarters. Yeah. It's definitely the advantage they have is the momentum component, but at the same time, I don't think this team gets down. And you said it, Brandon Allen's the reason. He never quits, man.
Lastly, to wrap this up, is the recruiting aspect. Talk, Rick, from your perspective about how much Ole Miss beating Ole Miss, and then Arkansas's made a few incremental pushes into LSU territory for some guys LSU would seriously take, and they have commitments from some pretty good guys, there's always that factor out there when Arkansas starts looking better and better. I remember Frank Broyles has told me many, many times, and I asked him just not long ago here in Little Rock about how does Arkansas get back in Texas and recruit? How does Arkansas beat LSU and Alabama for recruits? And he said, you got to win. And I said, well, yeah, but how do you beat them if you don't have the recruits? You know, and he just laughed. It was kind of like, that's the conundrum. But you go back to what Broyles did. Here's what a lot of fans may not know, but Arkansas undermanned, beat Texas and Austin 24-23, late field goal in the ball game. Probably not unlike beating Ole Miss in Oxford 53-52. They also beat Texas 14-13. Those two wins in Austin had more to do with what happened in the 60s as far as the teams that Frank Broyles built and was able to get guys like Ronnie Cavness, Jerry Lamb, and others out of Lloyd Phillips, all those guys out of Texas was winning. So I look at, Arkansas's beaten LSU. They've almost beaten LSU, too, in Baton Rouge. So, I mean, this has got to be huge.
Yeah, it is huge. You look at, we're on the national stage, on CBS, national TV. The game was Alabama-LSU, right? But we stole the show. I mean, we really did that day. And it was impressive. So a ton of recruits saw it. You look at, first off, what do you have? Again, he sees that. He's been recruited by Ole Miss, and he sees Arkansas and how they played. That keeps the in-state guys that are being recruited by Hugh Freeze and his staff, who do an excellent job on the recruiting trail, away, and then you look nationally, all of a sudden you just start seeing guys or commit. There's a Stanford commit. I believe he's out of Texas that is going to come in for an official visit now the week of the Mississippi State game. That's what you get from this. And then we go down to LSU this weekend. If we win down there, Mike Smith has made great inroads in New Orleans. He's former Catholic League member from Jesuit High School. I played at Holy Cross High School. That is huge. You don't understand. Having Mike go down there and recruit is big, and that's why a lot of guys from Louisiana are playing right now because there's a lot of talent down there. So winning down there and playing down there competitively is going to make a big, big statement.
And that's going to wrap it up for us. Mike had to check out just a few minutes ago real quickly. We ran out of time, but I want to thank Mike Shepard, Rick David for being here. Mike, there you are. You're back again. We just want to wrap it up. You got any final thoughts about the game this weekend? Perhaps a prediction.
Yes, I do. Think of Rob Smith and Dan Enos. That's all I got to say. We're going to win in Tiger Stadium.
So it sounds like coaching.
It's coaching.
Sounds like coaching might be a different.
Confidence with the players and the play calling on both sides of the ball.
You want to give us a score like you did last week?
Better.
Don't say overtime again. I can't take another one.
No.
It's going to be tight, though.
It's going to be tight. Oh, let's go with 24-20 Arkansas.
Okay. Sounds good enough to me. I did say 24-17. I'm going to stick with that. However, it won't surprise me if it's something like 35-28 Arkansas. It wouldn't surprise me to see Arkansas put 30 or more points on them. I've got to be convinced a little more that LSU defensively. I think one person in particular made a bad move. I think John Chavis made a bad move, both for LSU and for himself going to Texas A&M. I think he's in a crazy pit down there in A&M, doesn't have any players, or at least players who want to do what they want them to do. I think they're coaching them, there's no doubt, but they're not doing what Chavis wants, and I think LSU misses John Chavis. I think you're going to see it this weekend. Well, anyway, let's wrap this one up. We'll be back again early next week. For Mike Shepard, for Rick David, I'm Jim Harris. This is the Arkyana Hogs podcast. Things are going good. We'll see if it is again next week.
We're big.
So long, everybody.